Hi everybody, it's Daphne here with another art demo video. If you're new to my channel, I am the artist of the furry fantasy adventure comic Tall Tales, now available online at www.talltalesonline.com, with Tales spelled Tails. The first story arc, Thieves' Quest, is also available at my website in a complete trade paperback collection containing all 20 issues in one volume. I am currently at work on the second story arc of the series called Tall Tales, Tears of the Mother. It's scheduled to be an 8-issue arc, and we will be printing individual issues as well as a collected trade once it's completed. In today's video, I want to talk about a misconception that I keep seeing in aspiring artists, but have also caught myself doing even to this day. I'm sure just like you, I enjoy watching other artists on YouTube doing their work and getting a sense of how they create. Actually, what I like about all these art videos out there is the comfort I get from seeing that all our techniques and inspirations are pretty much the same. It's easy to get wrapped up in, am I doing this wrong? And then seeing a video and realizing that there isn't really such a thing as wrong as long as you're creating and doing the work. Now, I'm sure there are some of you mumbling to the screen right now saying, well, anatomy can be wrong, and perspective can be wrong, and you are not wrong. But the only way those things are going to be less wrong for the artist is only through practice and doing the work. The only wrong is not doing anything and thinking there is some magic workaround or shortcut that will improve our art with the least amount of effort. Which leads me to today's topic. Improvement in skill only comes from practice. Another reason I like watching other art videos is to see what art supplies people use and how they use them. It's fun to see new supplies and wonder how I can use them to make my own artwork. If you're any type of artist, I know for a fact you have a stack of supplies that you have because they looked cool and you just had to have them just in case. Well, maybe I will teach myself watercolors someday. Maybe I will one day decide to draw an illuminated manuscript type piece and will need that tray of 14 shimmery metallic paints. I know that feeling full well. The other feeling I do know well is the thought that nags us when we see an artist we admire use a particular brand of something and wonder if that's the edge our art needs. Our favorite artists use X brand of inking pens, which means that if we use those pens, our art will be like theirs. If they use a certain marker, our art will suddenly improve with more professional products. Sometimes I find myself watching a video and immediately searching out a particular brand of supply, because what if that is what I need to take my art to the next level? Then I remember, it's not the supplies that make a professional. It's the practice and work that the professional puts into their craft. I'm sure you've also watched all those art challenges. The 3-marker challenge, the cheap supply challenge, the ballpoint pen challenge, etc., etc. And I'm sure you all noticed the common denominator. The more accomplished the artist is, the more they were able to use anything and still put out professional, beautiful looking work. An artist who is practiced enough can create art with crayons and not make it look like crayons. So that tells you something, right? That it's not the tools. You can buy the most expensive tools, but if you don't practice your craft, it's pretty meaningless. All the Copics in the world isn't going to make your art look like it jumped out of a manga if all you do is watch TV. The markers don't do anything but hold pigment until you put it on the paper. You're the one creating the composition, drawing it out, inking it in, then coloring. And you have to do that enough times to get the final piece to have the look that you are working towards. Now, I don't want to sound like I'm dumping on Copics, but I have seen many young artists lament that if they don't have Copics, there's no way their art will ever be professional, which is just not true. Copics are expensive and not everyone can afford them. I myself think they're overrated and especially expensive for what they are. But I think it's unfair that so many young artists dismiss their own talent and put magical properties on some art supplies. Whatever you can do with Copics, you can do with any other marker out there. In fact, for all the talk about how Copics can be blended, the only answer I have for that is that so can a tray of 99-cent watercolors. If I want real blending in a piece, That's what I would use, and watercolors are a lot less expensive to boot. Having certain supplies or not does not make you a lesser artist. It just means you use different supplies and you should never shortchange yourself because of it. The most important thing about your art is how much you practice it. And the best thing about not being good at something is that there is no other option than to get better at it. Supplies come and go, but practice is eternal. You also have to remember, too, that when you see an artist in a room full of expensive supplies, that represents years' worth of purchases, and most of the time in bits and pieces. It is the rare artist that can spend thousands of dollars at once to buy a full set of Copics, so you should never compare yourself to them, especially for that reason. I have seen plenty of videos or crafters who have absolutely pristine rooms filled to the brim with expensive supplies. But you can tell that they haven't touched those supplies in ages, if at all. I never trust an artist with a room that doesn't show some level of use. That just tells me that they have the supplies and call themselves an artist or a crafter, but they don't really do much with anything. What good is that? I'm sure you must have heard the 10,000-hour rule, where in order to master something, it takes an average of that many hours of dedicated, deliberate practice to get there. Now, the reality is that some people need more hours and some may need less, but there is no way around the actual practice. And practice isn't about having the trendy markers or the most expensive paints. Now, granted, there is a difference between the 99-cent watercolors from the dollar store and the $30 set from the art store. Like the $30 set will have better pigments that retain the color better over time. But when you're in the practicing phase, that's actually irrelevant and you shouldn't be worrying about it until you actually need that $30 paint set. My point is that the only way to get better is just to put your hours in. No expensive product is going to change that, so don't worry about not having Copics or the latest camera equipment. In fact, my videos get filmed mostly on a camera I paid maybe $100 for and a couple of inexpensive webcams. I even edit my videos on a $40 program. Could my videos look nicer? Sure, but I'm still learning to get the hang of everything, and a $900 camera isn't going to help me when I still have so much basic stuff to learn. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's like the old joke, how do you get to Carnegie Hall? Easy, take the R train to 57th Street, then cross the street. I mean, practice, practice, practice. So I hope you found this video interesting and informative. If you want to see more art demo videos like this, don't forget to click the like button and subscribe. If you have any questions or any ideas for future videos, feel free to leave a comment below. If you want more information about Tall Tales or any of my other artwork, including how to commission your own custom art from me, links are also listed down below. Thank you again for your support, and I hope to see you on the next video. Bye! To erase anything. I first experimented with using color pencils for sketching on the last issue of Tall Tales. I decided to use the technique again for Drawloween and loved not getting my hands dirty from graphite smearing on sketch paper and then having to erase all that mess. I penciled in red, inked the pieces, then cleaned it all up on the computer. I don't think I'll ever use a regular pencil again if I can help it. 6. These art challenges are